How many of you think you can beat a dinosaur? For those of you who said you can, good on you. There's actually a fair amount you could beat in a fight. And for the rest of you who say they can't, come on man, where's the self-confidence? Also, you'll live much longer than the folks who said they could. As much as mainstream media depicts dinosaurs as these violent monsters that will eat or kill anything in sight, chances are that they won't go through such great lengths to end your life. But Jurassic Park is mainstream media, so these dinosaurs will 100% go through the trouble to ensure you're 6 feet under. In this video, we'll be seeing just how well you would fare against some of the most dangerous theropods in Jurassic Park. This video is specifically the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park or the Lost World, so no dinosaurs from Jurassic World will be discussed here. I'll do a separate video for that. Before we put you up against these bioengineered hellspawn, we gotta see your stats. In this simulation, you're gonna be a fairly fit person, with a weight between 180 and 200 pounds, a top speed of 22 miles per hour, and enough strength to deadlift 450 pounds. If you don't actually have these stats in real life, you're probably high-fiving yourself, but even with these impressive stats, you'll find surviving against InGen's most unstable creations more challenging than you expected. One final thing before we start the video. If you're new here and are into anything dinosaur or animal related in general, you're in the right place. I even take some subscriber suggestions into account and turn them into videos, so leave yours in the comment and hit that subscribe button. You could always unsubscribe if it's not for you. With the riff-raff out of the way, let's see just how well you'd fare against some of Jurassic Park's most dangerous theropods. Starting off strong, we have the T-Rex of the franchise, more specifically Rexy, because they were 7 made. In this analysis, we will be using Rexy as she was in Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World, so she's around 7 tons here compared to her 9-ton weight in Dominion. You might think this is a good thing, but it's actually a worse circumstance for you as a human. Rexy was the only Rex moved to Nublar and is basically the face of Jurassic Park. She has some iconic scenes like the Raptor fight and the enclosure breakout. Coincidentally, this is where you come in. Yes, you, watching this video with poor posture, straighten your back. You'll be on the main road right to the edge of Rexy's enclosure where Grant and the kids were, only you'll be alone this time. Rexy comes out of her enclosure while you're walking down the road, but before you can make a run for it, she's already locked onto you. One of 3 things will more than likely happen in this moment. The first scenario is one where you have no knowledge of the dinosaurs on the park and immediately decide to make a run for it down the road. Remember when I told you it's much worse for a human when she's at her smaller size? In Jurassic World, she's gotten older and heavier. She can't even outrun a fit person, whereas in Jurassic Park, she can keep up with a Jeep moving more than 35 miles per hour. I'm sure you can see how this won't play out in your favor. Even with your body pumping out copious amounts of adrenaline as your flight response kicks in, the top speed you'd reach in this state is around 30 miles per hour. Rexy can run faster than that, but slightly. Even if your brain tells you can continue running, after some time the rest of your body will start to fail as the lactic acid starts to build up in your muscles and you collapse. At this stage, the best thing you could hope for is a bite to the head to end it quickly. Other than that, you'll experience at least 2 to 5 seconds of pain as her jaws crush every bone in your body. So in this scenario, yeah, you're gonna die. In the next scenario, you know a bit about the dinosaurs on the island and you stay absolutely still. It's stated by Grant that InGen's T-Rexes can't process you if you remain completely still. Here your odds are better than the first option, but still not great. This will be sort of a standoff for a while as the Tyrannosaurus ponders what's in front of her and you try your very best not to shit yourself. There is a good chance that Rexy may inch up a bit closer to get a better look. But at that point, 99% of you will lose your nerve and run. I don't care how much of you think you can keep your cool. Saying you could behind the screen is different from the real thing. For the 1% of you who keep still, chances are that she will start to lose interest after a while and get distracted by something else. But there's also a chance where you make subtle movements like a nervous itch or something and then you get eaten. So you have about a 45 to 50% survival rate in this scene. In the last scenario, you do what you did in the first, but instead of running down the road, you make a break for it in the jungle or hell, even her enclosure. Here's why I think it's your best chance. Rexy is powerful enough to burst through a large dead tree, but even she couldn't continuously do it over and over. Our greatest asset is our size and agility. You will start running through the dense vegetation and foliage, while occasionally switching direction to throw her off track. It's like when you see a cockroach in your house and you start chasing it with a broom. But God forbid you take your eye off of it for 2 seconds and it disappears. Well, it's the same here. With the trees closely packed together and all the vegetation covering the jungle floor, it's fairly easy for Rexy to lose track of your location after running for a while. There's a chance she could smell you out, but you'll already be moving towards the research center or the dock after you call for help on your phone. That's right, You didn't expect me to put Gen Z in here without a phone, did you? Anyway, this time your survival rate bumps up to around 65%. The other 35 is the off chance that you fall down after you tripped on a root or something, or you are running in a more open area and she just catches you. You all may have the same physical stats, but each of you still have your own individual personality and mannerisms. And knowing what most of you would do, your chances of surviving this interaction is 40%. 40% is a bad score. It's enough to get most of you put out if your report card says it, but the next dinosaur drops that percentage down even more. Before you start calling me a liar, the Carnotaurus isn't exclusive to Jurassic World. They are also featured in Michael Crichton's novels, which are about Jurassic Park. These versions are smaller than the ones in Jurassic World, but this size decrease once again works against us. The novel Carnotaurs are around 20 feet long and 8 feet tall and could run more than 35 miles per hour. The simple reason for this is their camouflage. If you thought the Indominus had impressive skills when it came to blending into her surroundings, wait until you hear what these Carnos can do. These guys have the ability to change their pattern to match a chain link fence, a tree, hell, even a brick wall. And at night, this camouflage makes them almost indistinguishable from the surroundings they blend into. Even if you're looking directly at it, chances are that you won't know it's right there. This time you'll be in the same area Dr. Soren was in when the Carnos cornered him. If it's at night, your chances of getting off the island are almost zero. They're heavier than the average grizzly and fast enough to catch you easily. However, if it is the day and you hear low rumbling noises and you just get a glimpse of that fence that looks a bit distorted, you may have a chance of sprinting to the shed and waiting it out in there before it can get you. The thing about these animals is that once they know their cover is blown and there is a distance away, they will probably cancel the attack. They are ambush predators, and even though they could outrun you, the trouble of chasing you down after you saw them from a decent distance is probably not worth it. If you're in the shed, there's a chance that you can wait it out and hope the animal loses interest and leaves the area. But what's more than likely to happen is the animal waiting around the general area and staying camouflaged in an area you probably won't see it, at which point it will charge and maul you before you can get 5 steps in. The reason I put you in an area with a shed is because your chances of surviving even if you see the animal in the jungle is less than 1%. With a shed, that goes up to around 20, since there is a chance the Carno will leave that area after a while. Just to ensure you have a better chance, I'll give you a flashlight. If it's night and you shine a flashlight at one of these things, it irritates them. Once you stay in the shed and continue turning the flashlight on and off, it will more than likely leave you alone, because it has to continuously change patterns when you do this. It worked when Ellie did it in the novel, and this saved the Dr. Soren. So without a flashlight in the open, less than a 5% survival rate. Without one in the shed, that rises to about 20. And if you happen to have a flashlight and hide out in the shed, you have a 40% chance of leaving Soren alive after the animal goes away. To put it bluntly, you probably just aren't surviving if you were to be in the open with this thing like Rexy. So I tried to give you a little advantage by putting a flashlight in your pocket, because no tree dodging and hiding is going to save you from this one. With some good news, the next dinosaurs you interact with have a good chance of being obliterated by you despite what the movie says. This one is going to be short because it's pretty straightforward. The compies are the smallest creations of InGen and are almost always seen in packs of 10 or more. Let's be honest, if it's just one-on-one, you could thunder kick the thing into the shadow realm, so I'll put you up against a group the same size as the one that killed Dieter. His death was probably the most ridiculous one in the Lost World, to be honest. I could have understood a little girl, but a healthy man weighing over 200 pounds should not have been brought down that easily. In reality, these animals likely wouldn't come for you unless you show any signs of weakness or injury. But if they are dead set on having you for lunch, buckle up, you're gonna play whack-a-mole on hard difficulty. Without going too deep into it, the chances of survival amongst even the dumbest of you is around 50%. This is for the people who will continuously kick and try to chase the animal down while tiring themselves out, at which point they will start to barrage you, and for those that can't keep them off long enough, they will die from blood loss from a million cuts. Now for the rest of you with some sort of logical thinking, instead of trying to rip them off your skin, you'll start to crush them with your hands. These guys are like what, 8 or 10 pounds, and with your stats you have more than enough strength to pop them like a balloon. It would be like crushing a medium-sized chicken, or you know what, never mind. And instead of just laying there on your back trying to fight them off, you'll just roll over them. 200 pounds on their fragile bodies on a hard surface is enough to cripple them at the very least, and get them to let go, at which point they'll decide you're not worth the risk. You have an 80% chance of making it out and still breathing, unless you take too long to get them off, and you bleed out. However, if it's the novel compies, once you get bitten by a few of them, it's pretty much game over. The novel versions have a venom that acts like a sedative, preventing the prey from struggling, and they just eat the animal alive. This is exactly how Hammond died in novels after he twisted his ankle. You're a lot fitter than the old billionaire and not injured, so chances are that they will leave you alone if you don't show any signs of weakness. But again, if they decide to attack you and get a few bites in, you're pretty much done unless you somehow eliminate the entire pack before the effects of the venom kicks in. The only other way I see you surviving is climbing a tree and waiting it out, because they can outrun you. So against normal compies, most of you have like a 75 to 80% chance of surviving, and against the novel versions that drops to below 30. Hold on a minute, don't get too excited about your high survival rates. That'll quickly drop once you meet the dinosaur that's the embodiment of hatred. If hate was a dinosaur, it would be the Spinosaurus, an illegal project carried out by Wu and InGen. He was constantly abused and tested on as a juvenile, and after all of that he was abandoned on the island without even being let out. Like this guy said, the Spinosaurus hates people. Like Rexy, we will be using his proportions in Jurassic Park 3, not Camp Cretaceous. Although this one doesn't really matter because he's an absolute menace to mankind in both. This time we'll put you on the airstrip, where he made his first human kill. Unlike all the other dinosaurs you've been up against so far, there isn't really any tricks or gimmicks that can throw you off this one. This time he tracks you down, and like all big dinosaurs in this franchise, he will roar to announce his presence. At this point, almost all of you will make a break for it. Statistically, there is like 5 or 10% of you who will freeze due to fear. Those people will immediately get knocked off the list. The rest of you actually have one advantage over Spiny that you didn't have with the rest of the theropods, and that's your speed. Your base top speed is 22 miles per hour, but with the adrenaline kicking in, it should bump that up to 30 miles per hour in extreme conditions, while the Spinosaurus has a top speed of 27 miles per hour. The good news is that you'll get a head start. The bad news is that your body will start to fail after a certain distance. On an open plain, your chance of surviving is less than 10%. Luckily for you, Soren is made up almost completely of forest, so there's actually a good chance that you'll lose him in the dense vegetation. But that's only temporary. No other dinosaur can track people down better than this one. His hatred allowed him to track Grant and the others at every step of the way, no matter where they went on the island, and it wouldn't be no different for you. The only reason it eventually gave up its hunt for the movie cast was because of a oil fire that acted as a barrier. But you won't have that luxury, and you don't have any reason to be in that type of environment, because it just increases your chances of getting offed due to the animal being semi-aquatic. Even with an entire island to hide and increase the distance between you, eventually it will find you, and during one of those interactions, it will get you. Eric got a lucky break because he already knew a lot about dinosaurs, which most of you watching probably do. But even then, Eric just scraped by because of the overturned truck as a shelter. Before you could get picked up from the island by a rescue team, this animal will more than likely track you down before you can safely leave. Realistically, based on how well the Spinosaurus is able to track people and his blatant hatred for them, you have about a 30% chance of evading this animal on the entire island before help eventually comes and picks you up. On top of that, if it's just one rescue helicopter, there's no guarantee that this guy won't come and destroy that like he did the plane, and get a few more kills. I may be giving you a low survivability rate despite the island being so large, but again, this thing can seemingly pop up at random times where people are and run them down. You guys can let me know if the percentage of surviving should be higher. Alright, next up we have the Raptors, the second mascot to Rexy. There's different Raptors in Jurassic Park, but I think the most dangerous and intelligent of these versions are the ones from Jurassic Park 3. These variants set traps for people, such as laying in wait and even setting bait for people. They have a lot of power to back up their intelligence too. The Raptors and Sorna weigh between 300 and 330 pounds and have razor sharp teeth and claws to tear you open. I'm not going to put you in a hiding place or anything to try and give you an advantage. Like all the other ones, we will be in some sort of direct contact with the animal. Forget outrunning it. Even if you have a good head start, these raptors will close the distance easily. Even as I'm saying this, almost all of you will turn tail and run. But for those of us planning on holding our ground, we honestly don't have it much better. These animals can quickly topple you over, and we've seen just how easily it can paralyze a human with its large toe claws. It knew exactly where to strike to stop the target from moving without killing it, so I'm pretty sure it knows where to strike if it wants you dead. At this point you can give a futile attempt at fighting back, but you'll just be torn apart. If you grab its mouth, it's gonna use its claws, and if you grab its arms, it's gonna use its mouth. You may think for this one your chance of survival is 0, but actually you do have some sort of a chance, but that's for the lucky few of you. There have been cases of people fighting off a 500-pound grizzly bear without a weapon and surviving. There was even an instance of a man killing a leopard with his bare hands to save his daughter. Leopards are known man-eaters that have more than enough strength to overpower and kill an adult. Yet this man was able to turn the tables to protect his family by strangling it. Am I comparing a real leopard to Raptors? No, not even slightly. I love big cats, but Injun's creations would tear it apart. What I am saying is that statistically a few of you do actually have a chance of killing this thing. As dumb as this sounds, if you manage to put it in a headlock, you could render it unconscious. In all honesty, you'll be killed before you can get your hand around its neck, but for the few of you who do, you'll be torn and sliced up as the animal gasps for air. Once it's unconscious, you can just stomp it out while you make your call for help. And after that call for help, you'll still probably die before assistance can carry you off due to blood loss. But again, some of you will survive. I mean, people have survived a metal pole through their head, their stomach split open, etc, etc. So there is a chance a few of you will survive too. For this dinosaur, your chances of surviving a head-on encounter is less than 5%. For the next animal, your chances of surviving are probably going to be the highest on the list, but that's for only one variant of it. Last on the list is the Dilophosaurus. In the movie, this guy is the size of a golden retriever and could spit blinding venom at you. Nedry was unfit and just plain stupid, to be honest. If I saw a giant field lizard looking at me, I'd throw a stick at him instead of further away. It's safe to say that most of us would survive this interaction. While I think most of you have the same top speed, taking into account you're in adrenaline mode, I don't think you need to outrun it. It's a curious animal, and once you yourself show that you're an aggressive and dangerous animal, it'll more than likely flee. And if it comes down to a fight, you can easily close the distance and grab it by its neck and sucker punch it to the face. Owen Grady easily overpowered one of these guys with one hand, and Jurassic World's versions are even bigger than the one in Jurassic Park. In this movie, this thing usually gives a big heads up before it spits. Its frill will open up and it will make a horrendous sound, the sound of a rattlesnake and a distressed chicken. At that point, you have 2 to 3 seconds to turn away, which is what most would do, but again, statistically, there is gonna be a few people who will just stare at it and wait for the venom to be shot into their eyes. But overall, I think I'll give you a survivability rate of around 90%. Good job. Oh, but what's this? It's the taxman coming to take off 80% from your original percentage. Welcome to life, where you don't really own anything. The reason for that takeoff is because you will now be put against the novel Dilophosaurus. This one is probably the most paleo-accurate dinosaur in the franchise, besides its venom. It's 23 feet long and 10 feet tall, and weighs more than 2 average African lions. Other than that, this guy can slice your belly open with one hand, and was able to lift a 300-pound man from his skull into the air with no effort whatsoever. It also seems to be malicious in some sense too, or at least that's how it seemed to me. It dragged on Nedry's suffering way too long, but instead did a lot of extra stuff before Nedry succumbed to blood loss. So not only are you up against a strong theropod you can't outrun, or at least that you can't outrun for long, you're also up against one that's a psychopath. Like the Raptor, there is really no other option. It may let you live a bit longer because it's inquisitive and will just stare at you for a while, but soon it will just spit at you, and this one doesn't give a signal before it spits like the movie variant. All you can do is catch it quick enough before it can get into your eye by looking away, but by the time you turn around, your intestines will more than likely be hanging on the floor. Honestly, I can't really see a way you survive this one effectively. It's not as large and bulky as the Megatheropod, so you can evade it in the trees, and it's not as small as the Raptor, which you can have some chance of choking it out. Your best option is to flee, and 8 or 9 times out of 10, it will catch you, because I think the movie version can run up to 30 miles per hour, while the novels can run 26. Your adrenaline boost could give you enough of a head start, and you could eventually gap it to the point where the animal gives up. But that's if you don't collapse from exhaustion, and if you do collapse, expect the most slow and painful death you could ever receive from a dinosaur in this franchise. Well, except for one. So survivability against the novel Dilophosaurus is 3%. Yeah, it's bad. But for the few of you who win the race, congratulations. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you think you would fare better than the percent I gave you, and how. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as a reminder, if something has been extinct for so long, it's best to keep it that way.